welcome back to another edition of Veterans Corner. I'm your host, State Senator Kevin Witkos. We're here celebrating March 2016, Veteran of the Month. It's my pleasure to introduce to you United States Marine Corps Sergeant George Demars. George, congratulations on your nomination and your acceptance of my Veterans of the Month. It's a pleasure to be here in your home today. So, you served during the Korean War, I understand.
Correct.
And you were a voluntary enlistment.
Yes.
How old were you when you enlisted? Do you remember? Must have been in your teenage years.
19.
19? And what was going on in the world at that time? Had North Korea invaded South Korea, or did it just start? Tell me whereabouts we were during that time in our country.
Well, I don't know just exactly where we were. I didn't go to Korea until my first tour of duty was in the Mediterranean. I played basketball for the 6th Fleet team. And
now some people would say that's a pretty cushy assignment. How tall are you? Were you a guard?
Yes, I was.
I was going to say, because I know you weren't center.
No, I was a guard, and we played all over Italy, France, Spain, Turkey, North America.
So were we between World War II and Korean
No,
War at that
Korean
time?
War was still going on, and I got shipped back to United States, and then shipped to Korea.
All right, we're going to go back now because this is a first for me. So you go down to the recruiter, you enlist in the United States Marine Corps. They say, "All right, buddy, here's your shots, here's your physical. We'll send you down off to Parris Island." That's where all the Marines go, right?
Correct.
And so you're there, and usually they do some kind of an aptitude test, because I'm learning after interviewing all these veterans what you're good at, and somehow, were you like playing basketball during the day, and they saw you, and they go, "Hey, George, come over here. Tell me that story."
Well, I tried out for the team and made it, and we played a lot of ball.
Was that right out of boot camp?
No.
Or did you get an assignment
right
before
out of
that?
boot camp? Correct. They shipped me to North America, and we circled with the ships. It was a fleet.
Yep.
And some of the players from other teams, we got together and we played a lot of ball.
Now, were you played on the Marine team, or was it United States of America team, or how?
6th Fleet team.
Oh, the 6th Fleet team.
Yeah.
And was that all just Marines?
Yes.
You had other branches. Now, who did you play? Did you play other countries or other branches of service?
All countries. Italy, France, Spain, Turkey, island of Crete.
How did you do?
North America. We did well.
Yeah?
We beat the team that played Italy in the Olympics.
Wow.
We were good.
That's
have
fantastic.
to say so.
Yeah, good for you. That's awesome. I never even knew that we would field a sports team, if you will, during that time. So actually, it gives the troops something to cheer on, too.
Didn't have any duty time.
Yeah.
We played ball.
Yeah. And so what happened after, I guess, the season was over? Or?
Yeah, and they shipped me back to the United States and out to Pendleton for advanced training, and then off to Korea.
Now, what kind of advanced training were you involved in?
Well, military and up into the mountains, and that's about it.
Were you assigned like recon or infantry, or what
I
was your assignment?
Infantry.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just doing that for a while until I was telling this fellow that the 3 guys that joined the Marine Corps with me, we pretty much stayed together, and then one of them, 18 hours before the ceasefire was shown, he had both legs blown off. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't fun.
So you guys all grew up in Winstead?
Yes.
Yeah, that's you went to Winstead High School, and then did you guys all meet with the recruiter at the same time? That's why you're all
Yes.
just kind of able to stick together?
Yeah, we went to join the Marine, the Seabees
Okay.
in construction.
Navy, right?
Yeah, part of the Navy.
Yeah.
But the other two guys didn't have any trade. My dad was a carpenter, my grandfather was a carpenter, and I had some experience there, but so they didn't get in, and so we didn't get in, so we joined the Marine Corps.
Hey, the three amigos want to stick together.
There
right?
you go. Yeah.
Now, obviously, the three of you guys didn't play ball together.
No.
So
I'm the only one that played ball.
you went and played ball, and then they went off and began just serving in the regiment for.
Yeah. Well, Kenny was in mortars,
Okay.
and Joe was a flamethrower. I was just a
Rifleman.
rifleman, right?
Yeah. Well, everything was unique. I never even realized until we interviewed a veteran that was part of the Iwo Jima. And he says, everybody was bunkered down, and they used the flamethrowers to kind of flush people out.
Oh, you did, yeah.
And so when you got back, and what was Korea like? Like, where did you land?
It was cold.
It was cold. Really? Now, I read somewhere you got frostbite.
30 below.
Wow.
30 below zero.
Most people don't think of Korea as a cold place.
No, it's cold.
And what time of the year? Obviously, the winter time you were there.
Yeah. Then in spring and fall.
How long was your tour that you were there for?
About a year and a half. When the ceasefire was signed, they took one person from every line company and shipped them back to repatriate the prisoners. And that's what I did. I tested the prisoners, and what's interesting is the Turks, when they were repatriated, they came halfway across on the bridge.
Right.
Those that could run, ran. Those that could walk, walked. Those that were carried in a stretcher. But they got out of the ambulances that stopped halfway across the plain, the bridge, and the Turks got out of their vehicles, whatever it was, and they stripped all their clothes off, and they ran across to Freedom Village and shinnied up their flagpole and cried. It was impressive.
Sure. It sounds like it was very moving.
It was.
Now, these were, when you had to repatriate, what exactly did that mean? Did you bring prisoners that the Americans had captured, or the South Koreans had captured the North Koreans, and you guys met, and kind of like what you see in the movies, you just kind of walk by each other and each side gets their own prisoners?
Yeah, they stopped midway across the bridge.
Yeah.
And those people that our prisoners were released from there and went to Freedom Village.
And what was Freedom Village? Why? Obviously, because they were free at that point. But
yeah.
Is that why they named it Freedom Village?
I guess so.
A respite? Was there a hospital there?
Oh yeah.
See after everybody.
Yeah.
Now, how were you chosen for that assignment?
I don't know. I was the one guy from our company that went.
And why did they? Do you know why they chose one person from each company?
Well, no, I don't. They had to fulfill their ranks, and that's the way they did it.
Well, how many people would be there? Like, if
oh boy,
I don't know how many ranks you had, so would you have more people standing around waiting to cheer people on when they were coming over?
Yeah, they were.
The actual numbers that were coming across?
Yeah. They did that.
That must have been moving to see.
It certainly was moving.
Yeah.
then they shipped me home.
Yeah. Well, let me go back to when you first arrived in Korea. So, when did you get to meet up with your buddies? Were you able to keep in constant contact with them when you were out playing ball? And are they?
No,
because just
we didn't see them. I didn't. We were in different units.
Okay.
Like Joe was in the flamethrower unit, and Kenny was in the mortar unit, and I was in the line company.
And now, in your company, correct me if I'm wrong, you kind of got moved right up to the front.
Yes.
Because usually riflemen.
I spent most of my
infantry's
time on
up the front line.
outposts. That was a unit that was out in front of the line of the line.
Yeah, sure.
And we were out.
You were in front of the forward line.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the pictures that you saw, I was on an outpost COP2, which looked down on Panmunjom, and we watched the negotiations for the ceasefire, and that's when that picture was taken.
Now, in relative terms, I guess the Korean War is a relatively short war.
Yes.
2 years, right?
Yeah.
So when did you arrive there? Well, I guess you had the ceasefire while you were there.
Mm-hmm.
So how were you there? Had it escalated? Was that at its peak, or was it already in the downtrend? You're right, because it seems like it must have been at its peak if you were there over a year.
It was at the peak.
And what was your mission to do? I mean, I know that you were in the outpost. Were you advancing to just,
never advanced?
You just stayed and maintained.
We'd go out
and
go out on patrols. And we'd go up to within a few hundred feet of their lines. There are 2 lines of scrimmage,
Wow.
two lines, and that's we'd get in firefights.
Mm-hmm. Did they take a city? Did the North Koreans take? You mentioned what?
Seoul, Panmunjom.
Yeah. Did they take that from South Korea?
don't
That's
know.
what started that. Where was the invasion? Was it, or there's no particular place? They just crossed the I'll call it the DMZ,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what spurned the war.
Mm-hmm.
And that our objective was to push them back.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty much of a stalemate, you know.
Right.
The action was between the 2 lines.
Did we have NATO forces? Do we have other countries, or were we just fighting that pretty much with the South
Oh
Koreans
no!
ourselves?
The unit from Turkey was in our next to us on line, and there was several countries involved in the line.
And how did that work with a language barrier? I'm assuming, or did everybody pretty much speak English, or at least broken English?
Yeah, broken English. Yeah. Our company was pretty good, but we went out on a lot of patrols. Go up the lines were on 2 mountains,
Yep.
and underneath that is where we go on patrols.
Did you have like a base camp, and you go out and sit on a post, or your post was your camp? Like, what were your sleeping arrangements? You guys burrow in?
Bunkers.
Created
We
bunkers there?
made bunkers with concrete on the top, and there'd be quite a little firepower.
Yep.
Mortar rounds particularly.
Okay. And how did you, now I understand that you were awarded the Bronze Star. Tell me what that is and how that came about.
I've got the paperwork.
Yep.
I'll let you read that.
Okay.
They'll tell you more about it. Read that before you
will.
go, and it'll answer some questions, right?
Now, you get awarded that. I know you want to talk about it, so we won't talk about the specific incident, but when you got back to stateside, they they have a ceremony and they just
Oh,
awarded
yeah.
all this different
Yeah.
stars
Yep.
to people.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened to you when you came back? I mean, were you married at the time?
No, I wasn't married at the time, but I went to Yukon for a year, and then I worked at the YMCA in Winstead as a youth director for the boys' youth director.
Coach basketball?
Oh, yeah. And then a friend came and said that wanted to know if I'd be interested in a job, that he didn't have any children, and if I went to work for him, he would leave me the business. So I ended up in lumber and building materials and fuel oil, plumbing, heating.
Yeah. Wow.
We did them all.
Yeah.
So I was there for 35 years.
Good for you.
I got lucky.
Now, do you ever see any of the guys that you served with, or do you go to there's any communication?
Oh, I go to the Marine Corps birthday parties on Torrington every year, along with Ted Meralda.
Ted was one of our Veterans of the Month.
Well, I know that.
And his brothers, he was telling me, they all went into a different branch of the service.
Well, he had 4 brothers, and they were all different branches: Air Force, and Army, Navy, and the Marine Corps.
Yeah. So what would you say is your most memorable moment of the time that you served over in Korea? Doesn't necessarily be a good one. It could be a bad one, but...
Well, the bad one is we were on a counterattack, and the fella, I was in front, and the fellow behind me was handing me his grenades, and I'm tossing his grenades, and I heard this thud and turned around, and there Irving was with a bullet through his head, and that's something I'll never forget.
Yeah.
And the letter there from his parents, what I wrote his parents. But that's one that sticks with me, pretty much.
A lot of people you don't hear those types of things in a history book.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one of the reasons why we try to come around and interview veterans, to be able to tell their side of the story, because you've all given so much for my generation, future generations, to enjoy what we have.
Well, I got lucky.
And that's what it absolutely comes down to. Why you? Why him? Why them?
Exactly.
Yeah. It just, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason why things happen.
No, I know what. But they happen, and you do the best you can with what you got.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. And when you were, what would you say, if there was a moment, that you think was the best or the funniest or the most memorable time over there? Because we've heard some stories about some guys pulling some pranks on other people over there, or they just couldn't believe what was happening.
I have none.
You didn't have any those experiences. It was a tough time.
Yeah.
Why do you think they call it the Forgotten War?
Yeah, I've heard the expression, and it's because not too many people paid attention to it. It's like Vietnam. Do the best you can with what you got.
Yeah, I know. I never knew why they called it the Forgotten War. Because was it too short, or was it because we didn't lose a lot of lives?
Well, you lost a few.
Yeah, thousands, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So when you got back from the Marine Corps, you were looking down. You said you were looking at that town. I can't remember.
Panmunjom.
Right.
Seoul.
And you saw must have been negotiations or whatever.
Saw the jeeps come in, and both sides, and they sat in the big building where they negotiated.
And did you get intel that it was happening? That, all right, this is it. We hear the war's wrapping up. They're negotiating the ceasefire.
Well,
surrendering?
when they did, that's when they took that picture of me standing up there with the flag in my hand.
Yep.
And so that was quite an experience.
Now, how did you learn that it's over, we're done, we're going home?
Well, you could see him. You see him, and then the word got out. We had pretty good communications.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
I felt good.
Yeah, yeah. And it took you how long before you could get home? Once you saw that, because you ended up going to the repatriate.
Oh, half a year or so.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I got discharged and got on the rest of my life.
Good for you. Well, one of the things we always like to do, as I mentioned to you before, is we always give the veteran an opportunity to share a message to people that may be watching from a military base around the world or a high school that's thinking about joining the military. And again, we applaud you and thank you for your service to your country. Is there a message you'd like to send to them?
Well, the only thing is that I think that it would not hurt every youngster, male, to do some time in the service. That's about it, I guess.
Okay. One of the things I wanted to give you, and I'll show it to you here, it's an official statement. It says, on behalf of the 8th Senatorial District, I'd like to recognize George Demars being named March 2016 Veteran of the Month, an honor that recognizes your incredible dedication to your country and brave service in the United States Marine Corps during the Korean War. And I want to shake your hand and thank you very much.
Well, I thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for agreeing
I appreciate
it. On all you've done for our country.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure to sit here today in the beautiful home of Sergeant United States Marine Corps retired George Demars. See you next month on Veterans Corner.